So one of the cuts that we're going to be looking at is used to make the hanging notches on a pot hanging stick. Very useful for over the fire cooking, quite adaptable and very easy to make. So another useful technique is a stop cut. Now these can be applied in a number of different ways. So like you've seen on the pot hanger, we've used a stop cut in a lark's beak kind of appearance. That is just to end up with a point that you can hang the stick on a rope. Stop cut can also be useful when you are making things like deadfall traps. So the figure 4 relies on a couple of stop cuts to actually make a notch for a hook to go into. But again, the ideal is you're going to have a surface to work on. You are going to keep your main arteries well out of the way. If you've got a mallet, brilliant, makes life an awful lot easier. If you haven't, a stick of reasonable length that you can hit the back of your bushcraft knife with will make an adequate mallet until you've got time or resource to make a rustic mallet. You see this one hasn't had an awful lot of use because it's still got the bark intact, but I like it. Knife out. So we're going to make a basic stop cut on this piece, which is just a straight stop cut notch. So we're going to position our knife across the stick that we've chosen, a couple of sharp knocks into the stick, and we've created a line. That is going to allow us to stop when we get to it with our blade. Now the cut I'm using here is a supported cut, so this is supported by my thumb. It's quite a powerful cut. It's also a very accurate cut because it's supported. You're not relying on just your forearm and bicep strength to push the blade away, which is quite uncontrolled. This is a very controlled cut. Again, working on it. Again, working on the outside of your body. So the reason for that is to avoid injury. The chances of injury from this kind of a cut, you're not really going to slip. You're working into a stop, you're working in front of you, and you're doing a very fine, very small motion using the strength in your thumb, which is a large muscle in your hand. And the larger the muscle that you're using to make a fine cut, the less tired that muscle is going to get. Whereas if I was trying to use a finger, that finger's going to get really tired. The thumb's really strong. Great adaptation in evolution. So we've got a little stop cut notch there. That sort of thing would be used, for example, as the end stop on a trigger piece on a figure 4 deadfall trap. So it's quite a useful thing. You can also use it to create a backpack frame by using a couple of sticks, creating flat notches that other things can tie into and sit into, and you can lash them together. So again, all these little cuts and techniques play into some of the wider knowledge that you eventually acquire or decide that you might need, or even are just vaguely interested in that massive subject of bushcraft. Now this one I'm going to go on an angle, and then I'm going to switch through and do an opposite angle to make a pot hanger style lark's beak notch. So again, we're going to go for a couple of knocks. We're going to make sure that we're not trapping ourselves here with our handle. Other things to be mindful of: trapping your fingers when you smack that. So we've got a really deep notch on this one because I want quite a pronounced beak shape. So we've got a cross cut in here. Now on this stick, we would want to keep, if we were hanging it that way, we would want to keep the upper beak. So decide which way is the bottom of your pot hanger. It would be the bit with the sticky up bit of branch. And your beak always points at your pot hanger end. So if you've got a stick here, the beak is going to point down at that end. So you're going to remove 1, 2, 3 sections. So again, this will act as a stop cut. Work from the side, take out the material, work from the side, take out the material. The ideal part you want to get, now on that one, we've currently got a greater than 90 degree. We want a slight overhang with the top, so we're going to work in as well. So we're going to take a little bit off that way. I'm going to keep going. So again, supported cut. Where's the knife going if this goes wrong? It's going into the stick. It's not going to slip. We're not going to cause an injury. Tidy it up. Take off all the loose little bits. You can use a rocking motion just to ease a blade into these fibres of the wood. And there we go. That is our Lark's beak notch. You see there's a slight undercut, so when that hangs on a rope, that point isn't going to slip off, so you're not going to lose your dinner.